Hey, what's going on? I'm Brad from B&B COSPLAY, and today we're going to be talking about cutting EVA foam with a bandsaw. Alright, I know. You might not have a bandsaw, you might not want to spend the money on a bandsaw. Makes complete sense. This isn't a video to try to get you to buy one. I'm not trying to sell this. They are not sponsoring me. This is just simply me explaining why I like using a bandsaw for my cosplay builds. Now, bandsaws are great for all kinds of different things. They're great for wood, plastics, PVC. I wouldn't use it too much on metal. I'll use it for aluminum here and there, but this one, it's not exactly a heavy duty bandsaw. It's great for what I need, but it's not heavy duty. So I'm not cutting any steel or anything like that. But as far as my cosplay projects go, this has been awesome. And I'll show you why. For my Soundwave build, I did these forearm pieces. Well, these have really nice 90-degree angles on it. And in order to get those, I used this. I just had the table set at 45 degrees. And it's just a quick adjustment. You just loosen it down here, and then you can angle your table. And you know that every single angle you get now is going to be 45 degrees. So if you're doing a square or a cube, every one of those seams is going to come together perfectly. Another thing that was really nice for is building my shockwave helmets. Because you can see, this has some crazy angles on it. And trying to use that blade and holding it at the same angle every time to make sure that you're getting the angles you need is really hard. And it's not easy to do. So with this, it's easy. You just set your table at the degrees you need, cut your pieces, and move on. I'm going to show you a couple things on here, just cutting real quick. This video is not going to be a real tutorial, but I just wanted to kind of talk to you about the bandsaw because I've been really happy with it, and I think you'll be happy with it if you use it as well. Before we get into anything though, safety is always a must. First things first, always wear a pair of safety glasses. When you're operating this thing, don't ever have your hands by this blade. This is unforgiving. If you touch this, you will cut yourself and maybe cut off a finger. You don't want that to happen. So anytime you want to grab something out of here, shut it down. And I use a stick to push the piece out of the way. I don't want to lose a finger, so I don't put my hands close to that while it's running or when it's even shut off. When you're cutting some foam pieces on this, you have to be cautious because if it's a thin slice that you're taking off of this, it'll get sucked down and sometimes it'll kind of suck the piece in a little bit. So just be really cautious with that if you're going to be using this on foam. And make sure you're always following the manufacturer's recommendations for operation and setup as far as it goes. If you have one or you're getting one, it might be different from mine. So I'm not going to go into any of that kind of stuff unless that's something you actually want me to talk about, and really just hit me up in the comments and I can answer some questions about this. As far as the pricing goes for this, I got this thing off of Amazon. It was $134. You could get some really expensive ones. They get really crazy, up a couple $100 if you want, but this is great. It does everything I need. I'm not trying to cut 5-inch steel or anything, so this thing works pretty good. But let's get into some cutting here. Okay, first, before we start, let's put these safety glasses on. Turn on the machine, and let's start cutting. Now remember, when you do this, just slow, steady pressure. You don't want to push too hard and bind up the blade. Just right through the material. Now let's go ahead and shut the machine off, grab our stick, and push that scrap piece out of the way. Now I'm just going to cut this up just so you can kind of see how easily this cuts. Pretty much like butter. Alright, let me show you how to adjust the table. You can see these numbers here. Those are the angles that you can set it at. Go ahead and loosen it. And we just turn this knob and it's going to adjust our table. And then we can start cutting after we tighten this knob down. Turn the machine back on. And we're just going to go ahead and cut this angle off if you want to do like a little beveled angled piece. There you go. You see how that thing sucked down in there? Well, we're just going to go ahead and shut the machine off. Pull it out of there and discard that piece. And you can see I got this pretty cool angle on here right now. Maybe clean that up with a Dremel if it was going to be like a finished piece. Otherwise, if we're gluing it, wouldn't be a problem. If you want to do a full angle, if you're going to be joining two 45-degree pieces together, this is how it would go. There you go, a perfect 45-degree angle. Discard that piece. And let's go ahead and cut this again so we can join together two 45s so you can see what kind of 90-degree angle this creates. Go ahead and shut the machine off. Pull this piece out of there. Oop, dropped it there. Pick that up. All right, you can see how nicely these fit together and just create that perfect 90-degree angle. Just makes it a whole lot easier cutting it this way instead of trying to use a blade and always get the 45s. Sometimes when you put a corner together like this, it looks a little bit chunky, but you don't get that with the bandsaw. Bandsaw is also really nice. A lot of these helmets that we build have these angled pieces that need to have also a undercut on it. And this is going to do the trick perfectly. Just go ahead and draw your angle on it, set your table at whatever degree you need for the undercut, and follow your trace line. This is going to be really helpful for your helmet builds, or even if you have a dome piece you need to make, or maybe shoulder armor. It's just going to ensure that you get a perfect angle for the undercut, and it's not going to be a sloppy seam and you're not having a hard time putting it together. Well, you see we got our angle cut perfectly curved, and then all you have to do is fold it, and there you go. That would angle perfectly for your helmet or shoulder piece, whatever it is. All right, let's say we have some different kind of cuts here, just a couple squiggles. This is also another great method for that, and even a circle as well. Now you're going to notice here, I do have to put my hands a little bit closer to the blade, and sometimes it's just something you can't avoid. So make sure that when you're doing it, you're extremely cautious and always aware of your finger placement. Now this is a bit of a larger, wider blade, so it doesn't quite go through there as smoothly as I'd like, but you can see it still has a great result, nice clean cuts. And this is something that you just probably really would have a hard time with doing a straight blade. The bandsaw just makes it so much easier for you. And here's another one for you. You can see how nicely that cuts. And then you can clean that up with a Dremel if you need it. Let's move on to a circle. This is also very easy once you get it started. You can pretty much just spin your fingers and keep the piece in place while you're spinning it and get a perfect cut on it. Just keep spinning it around on one pivot point until you're all the way through. And pull your piece out. And here you go. You got a really nice circle, clean edges. And if you wanted to, again, you can clean that up with a Dremel and it would look really good. All right, well, that's how I'm using my bandsaw for my cosplay builds. I realize not everybody's going to go run out and buy one of these things, but if you're on the fence, you're not quite sure if you want to buy something, maybe use a different method for cutting your foam other than just the blades, I think you'd be really happy with this. You wouldn't be disappointed. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. You can always catch my current projects on Instagram at BNBids or BNB Cosplay on Facebook. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.